Welcome, welcome, welcome. This to College Admission Secrets, or specifically UC Admission Secrets. It is wow. It is Tuesday, and of course we are doing our typical training for the week. And I am Coach Art. I'm so excited to have you here. Wow, we are almost incredible at over 170 people on here. I am so excited to provide you with a topic today. As you know, for the last 2 weeks, we were talking about a really important subject, UC readers and what they're looking for. Last week, we actually tried to get through 115 questions, and we only got through half of them. So we are going to do another session a little later on to answer the rest of those questions. I know if you guys could give me again another thumbs up. Did you guys, if you were there for the last 2 weeks, did you get a lot of value out of that? If you could do me a favor, okay, great, love it. I see the fingers flying, so it's just awesome. That's what we try to do here at College Admission Secrets. Is we try to provide you an overload of information and data about college admissions so that you can take that and be successful with your college admissions journey. Okay. So tonight I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and this is what I'm going to be talking about today. Okay. Which is how to get ahead in the summer, and specifically what you may not have thought of. Okay. There's a lot of typical things, and I'm going to be talking about some typical things as well. Okay. I'll truthfully say that because they're just so very obvious. But the thing is, as well, is that there are things that I think some people are not necessarily think about, and it's important that we discuss those. Now, mind you, this list, there's so many things that you could do during the summer. I am sure that many of you have some great ideas as well, but I want to make sure that we address some of the top ones, right? Now, please, at the end of this, I know that I'm going to reserve time to try to answer all of your questions. So if you do have any questions, put that in the Q&A section, right? Okay, in the Q&A section, that would be tremendous. I greatly, greatly appreciate that. And what I always like to do and have responses here is is that if you find something that I've talked about or mentioned and you like it, please give me a thumbs up or give me a heart or give me, the horn. But please, because I love getting that feedback and making sure I know that I'm hitting something that is relevant to you guys. Okay, so why don't we go and get started? Again, how to get ahead in the summer and things that you may not have thought of. So first of all, I just want to talk about over the last 15 years, we have connected with over 4,000 families on Instagram, 11,000 on Facebook, 30,000 on TikTok, and we've helped so many students gain acceptances to not just the UC campuses, but even the Ivy Leagues and top 20, 50, 100 or so, right? Really, typically on average, 98% of our coaching families get into their top colleges, and 93% get into one of their top 5. Okay. So that's pretty amazing. Now, one thing that I just want to show you is that we have been so successful in getting students in. You can see here from all over the place, but not just the UCs, but of course, got people in Cal, UC Davis, UC San Diego. Okay. But we also get students into so many other colleges as well. You see here Loyola Marymount. Even this one here is the BSMD program, okay, which is a very difficult program. USC, UCLA. You can see here a whole bunch. That I'm proud of. Alana, who is made it into Caltech as well. Portland, Mount St. Mary's. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on, and we're just so excited because even the students that got waitlisted, we're hearing, have made it in. Okay, and that's again a testament on the hard work that they put in. But also, we can brag a little bit, of course, is our team, I think, did a tremendous job in helping these students get in. You can see this one student got into USD and UCLA, got into Berkeley here, okay, Chapman University, Texas Tech, Baylor, Michigan, USC, okay. So in this session today, what we're going to be talking about is we're going to talk about the 5 top things to do over the summer that's going to get you ahead in your college admission space or game. Okay. So first of all, pro tip, don't listen to strangers online. Okay. Listen to somebody that you know. And I'm hopefully, because you're with us today, that we can become friends and we can become, partners in this college admissions journey, because that's what we love. And right now, I can't believe it. We are at almost 280, 280 people joining us. So that's incredible. So thank you for being on. We really appreciate it. So just to give you a little bit now, my partner in crime here, Coach Tony, is not here today because he had another engagement he had to go to. But I do want to give him his props because he is our fearless leader, the founder of College Admission Secrets. He was accepted at UCLA and UCI, had both full rides, but he decided to join Berkeley, go to Berkeley, right? From there, he became a Berkeley admissions reader, worked at UCLA as well as an outreach director, even started his own high school, and has been prominent in the social media space, especially like TikTok. But the biggest thing is he's helped, thousands of students over the past 15 years. Okay. Wanted to introduce myself as well. Hopefully you guys know me a little bit. I've seen a lot of familiar faces and names on the call today. I'm Coach Art. I'm one of the admissions coaches here as well. And I'm the proudest thing is I'm a parent. Okay, so I consider myself a parent liaison, but as well as a student whisperer. Okay, and the thing here is that I've been in technology for 30 years, but 7 years ago, my son was trying to get into college, and that's my proud papa moment is my 3 boys. Okay, I have 3 boys, and the one thing is I've been coaching for the last 20 plus years. 7 years ago, I started to help my son trying to get into college because we did not understand and know the college admission space. And it was very difficult because we were just hunting and pecking, trying to get information. And I wish we had a company like College Admission Secrets that we could pull from. But we did have someone that would help us, did an okay job. But what happens is that I stepped in and tried to help my son. He made it to UC Berkeley, my oldest. He just graduated from UC Berkeley with a mechanical engineering degree. My middle son is pursuing a degree in biology in Illinois. And then my youngest son is going to be playing college soccer in Biola University and going to physical therapy. So proud papa moment. Again, just went through it for three of my boys. So I understand all of the parents that are out there, what you're going through, but I've also placed hundreds of students in their dream schools as well. So I'm just so privileged and honored to have you guys with me tonight. So with that said, why is summer so important? And again, some of this may be very obvious to you, but for those who have just joined us, I got to tell you is that as much as I repeat some of the information that I say, there are some people who are, are surprised. And so again, I thought this would be a great way of introducing you for the summer. So first of all, especially for you students out there, it is, of course, time to rejuvenate and recover from the year, because if you had been following us or you're one of our families, you probably know that we try to up the rigor, right? So you're probably taking rigor classes, AP classes, community college classes or so. And so, trying to rejuvenate from that. But there's a difference between rejuvenating and recovering, but not to relax. And what I mean by relax is just take it easy and not do anything, right? Because in most cases, there are no high school obligations, of course, like class, clubs, sports teams, or etc. But the thing is that this will allow you to give you more time to concentrate on activities that you couldn't do during the school year. And this is a big point that I want to make with respect to the summer, because people think of summers as just individual pieces, right? Okay, so you have the summer after your freshman year, and then you have the summer after your sophomore year, and the summer after your senior year. But they don't necessarily connect those. And the thing is, you really do need to do, especially if you're going to be doing some of the things I'm talking about. These are building blocks, so that by the time you get to your summer before your senior year, you have built things along the way, so that now it is the most impactful, okay? And that's what the schools are looking for, because they're looking at a trend of always going up, right? So you may not do as much of your sophomore, your senior, or sorry, your freshman year. You do a little bit more your sophomore year, do a lot during your junior year, and then your senior year, you're at your top, right? So that's where you got to think about the summers are connected, and the things that you do in each summer will allow you to build on that, okay? So if we think about a typical sample summer breakdown, and I stole this from Coach Tony because I loved it. He did a little bit of lesson about some of the things that you can do, activities. There are a total of 186 hours per week. Okay, that's a 24-hour day per day, in a, of course, a 7-day week. If we think about breaking down the hours, so let's say if you're going to be doing some type of online course, you're doing 5-hour volunteering, research projects, physical activities, sleep, meals, leisure, self-care. That's a total of 141. So you have about 27 hours of unstructured time, okay? Unaccounted time that you can do stuff with, okay? Now, some of the things I'm going to be talking about are rolled in to what you see up there, but some of them aren't, okay? And so the thing is that if students say, I don't have any time, there's no way I can find the time, there is, because you typically have up to, if we round up 30 years of unaccounted time, but then that includes all the other stuff that I'm talking about here, okay? Now, here are the top 5 things to do to get ahead in your college. Actually, what I want to do is, in the chat, can some of you, I would like to find out, what do you think is the most important thing to do during the summer? If you could put that in the chat really quickly, okay, if you could put that in the chat really quickly. I'd love to see some people, okay, type in what it is. Anything. If you can just throw it out there, okay? Internships, okay. Okay, I see SAT prep, volunteer. Pursue a passion, love it. Volunteers and jobs, academic too. Now this person said half fun. I don't know if they were supposed to say have fun or have fun, but I like that. Jobs and classes, internships, okay. Same idea for college. Okay, good. I love it. You guys are on the right track. You guys are spoilers a little bit, because you mentioned some of the things that I'm going to mention, but I'm going to go dive into these. I love it. First of all, I am all into family time as well, and time to be spent with friends and family and to have fun. I actually really like what that one person said here, is they said half fun, which I think they actually probably meant have fun. But have fun connotates to me is, again, you want to have fun, of course, it's the summer. Frankly, you should have fun all the time, but have fun, but do it in a way that you are allowing to finish all the things that you need to. Okay, so let's talk about the 5 things to do. First of all, number 1, and everybody knows this, but people don't realize this is so important. Take community college classes, or what we call dual enrollment classes, okay? And this starts out from you can actually start this before your freshman year, so you could do this in your 8th grade. But again, if you're 6th to 8th graders, if you have 6th to 8th graders out there, I would not highly suggest that you take something in 6th or 7th, but probably 8th grade. You can, the summer before your freshman year. But you want to be able to have a pattern of taking, if not 1, but we always kind of recommend 2 during the summers for your after your freshman, after your sophomore, after your junior year, okay? And you're going to be either taking a combination of dual enrollment, which is community college classes, or something like educational online courses that are sponsored through, let's say, UC Scout or BYU, right? Okay, so let's kind of go through that. So first of all, when you go ahead and take a summer class, you want to make sure that they are within the IGETC, what we call the Intersegmental General Education Transfer Curriculum, okay? And what that means here is that these are the requirements from a 2-year course that is transferable to a 4-year university, okay? So you want to make sure that those courses fall in line within the IGETC requirements. They usually have sections, areas from 1 to 7. and you want to make sure so that when you take these courses that you get actual credit for it. Okay. What's great about doing that is because if you take college courses, you don't need to take an AP exam because you already get the credit once you pass the course. Now, a great resource to do that is assist.org. If you see here, assist.org. Assist.org, this is for California. It's really great because it allows you to search for community colleges. You can find your community college, and then what you do is you go and you click on IGETC for the UCs and CSUs, and then it will give you a list by certain criteria or by certain categories of all the classes that are transferable from that particular community college that's close to you to the four-year university. Okay. So this is a really valuable site to look at because then it cuts the time instead of you trying to guess what courses should I be taking. Now, the second and most important thing is ratemyprofessor.com. It's really important that you read the comments by students for the particular professor that is going to be doing the course, because the worst thing that you can do is to go ahead and take the course and find out that the professor is not very good, okay, or is not in line with the styles that you're looking for. So, and then the third thing I would say now, because you do assist.org, ratemyprofessors.com. We did actually do a previous course, and maybe I can share that later, or in another one, is about the types of courses that you need to take. Well, guess what? You could talk to us, okay, in CAS, because that's what we normally do. It's one of the things that we do in our program to help out, is picking the types of classes based on your major and the school that you're looking for. Now, I would say we always recommend, if you are starting out in community college, you don't want to take the hardest community college course. That's not good. What you want to do is you want to start in the areas 3 or 4, which is humanities or social sciences. And typically what we say is psychology, sociology, anthropology. Those are the courses that we see would really fit, okay? Another thing is based on your major, okay? And typically, let's say the sciences, science majors, STEM, engineering, even business, that you maximize your rigor on math and science. So you might want to take those. Typically, we always see people taking, like, say, upper level math, like a Calc 3 or calculus, right? Now, there are also other educational programs sponsored by the UCs and universities, like UC Scout, BYU. What these are educational programs that provide AP courses, high school AP courses online, okay? And so it's important that, again, we recommend either 1 or 2 courses per summer, okay? Because you think about this, when you're going to maximize your rigor, if you take 2 courses every summer, then you're already at 6 by the time you are going to your senior year under your belt, okay? And on top of that, you're getting used to the college courses, all right? Now, another thing is you can do is certificate classes, okay? Certificate classes meaning like getting a certificate in programming. Let's say if you do, let's say, introduction to Python, or you learn Python, you get a Python certificate or so. Those are great because they are very applicable to sometimes usually your typical major, okay? Now, the one thing is obvious, and you've probably seen this and you've said this, is various programs, right? So various programs, you could probably heard of Cosmos. Those are ones that is huge out there in the STEM area, okay? They are pricey, and you have to file an app, you have to put in an application to see if you get accepted, but those are great as well. But these are kind of things that you can do quite easily locally in your area, okay? All right. Here is the second thing. Number 2, start a personal passion project. Okay. I want to kind of talk about this because right now, we've seen actually, and indications are, a lot of the universities love personal projects, okay? Personal projects. And the reason why is that you can see here, it is an individualized or independent project that allows students to pursue their own areas of interest or passion. So that's why I say I put passion in quotes, because if you're going to do a personal project, you want to do something that you love, okay, that you're passionate about. You don't want to just do this just because because you want to make it look good on your application, because that's the wrong motivation, okay? Why this is great for the college, why the universities really are liking this, sometimes even more so than internships and research programs, is because it's student run and student initiated. It is all about you. And you know, we talk about this all the time, is that it's very important that the things that you do and show in your application is about you, that you talk about yourself. Well, the best way is a project that you do for yourself. Now, you could have other people helping you, but you are the main driver of it. Okay. So, for a personal project, first of all, it has to be related to what you are passionate about. Okay. So, if you're passionate about the environment, do a project about the environment. Maybe you do a research, right? I had a student that was passionate about sports statistics. He loved to watch sports on television, couldn't get enough of it. Well, we recommend, okay, well, why don't you do, and he liked computer science as well. So he was going to be writing a program that allows him to aggregate the stats, sports stats, and then what happens is he's going to take a look and see trends amongst the different. It's kind of like Moneyball, okay? So it's amazing. Now, I have this phrase, PTWWTP, means plan the work and work the plan. The most important thing with a personal project is to plan the work. It is really answering the questions: who, what, where, when, and how. So who is the audience that you're going to be reaching out to if there's an audience for doing this, right? What are you going to do? Where are you going to do it? Okay. When? Okay. And then how? How are you going to execute on this? So, for example, if you were going to be doing a workshop to help students learn about the environment, then who it would be is middle school students. What you're going to teach them is basically the curriculum about about environmental science. Where would be, let's say, at a local community center. When, of course, is the time frame. Let's say it's a 6-week workshop. And then how are you going to do that is the resourcing and where you're going to get sponsored and who's going to help you, right? So those are all of the answers you take. Again, plan the work, work the plan. Now, I think too many people get wrapped around this, and you got to understand that, is that it is not about the end result necessarily for this project, okay? But it's the actual journey. And the reason why that's so important is because it's going to show the type of person that you are, okay? The type of person you are to the universities. Because at some point, you're going to get through some adversity or some difficulty. At some point, you're going to have to be creative. You're going to show tenacity. You're going to have to show perseverance. You're going to have to, you're going to have to show some courage, okay? So let's say you're not so very good at approaching people to ask them for help, but you needed to do that, okay? So these are so vital to describe that and to show what you can do with a personal project, okay? So it's not necessarily the result, it's about the journey. And this is amazing when you go to write your college application, that you can write about something from the beginning to the end, and it's all about you, and you did it, right? So universities really like this activity because it shows who you are. And guess what? Here is another thing that you can, because we do help with one-on-one projects, okay? One-on-one passion projects is part of our program, okay? So work with us. We have experts that can help your student, stand up a personal project. Okay, number 3. Now, this one I was a little iffy about but the thing is, it's coming up, okay? Study for the SAT, ACT. Now, before, when COVID hit, remember, of course, everybody knew SAT, ACT, they were moved. They became, a lot of the schools became SAT either blind or SAT optional, but not required, okay? But as of recent, for those who are going to be filing in 2025, the Ivy Leagues have said that they're going to require the SAT and ACT. So why I'm saying this is because for those who want to go for that, as well as some other schools that are requiring, the MITs, the Caltechs, the Purdue's, and others that are looking for the SAT scores, you really do need some runway. Okay, you do need some runway to take the SATs and ACTs, because you don't want to, of course, you want to do well and get a good score. So what about the SAT? So first of all, there are really 2 primary reasons for taking the SAT and ACT. First of all, test scores are required to be submitted, okay? And that's the one thing I just talked about, is with the Ivy Leagues, okay? Another thing is, if you are a very good test taker and you can score very high, especially in the PSAT, you could be considered as a National Merit Scholar. And if you're a National Merit Scholar, usually, typically, the colleges and the universities are going to be knocking on your door to attend their university, as well as you can get some significant scholarship funds. Okay, so as I mentioned there, starting with some submitters in 2025, the Ivy Leagues are going to require it. Now, right now, most schools are test optional, but there are less that are test blind. So specifically, we're talking about UCs and CSUs. The UCs and CSUs are still test blind. They literally say on the application, do not put your scores onto the application. Okay, so you don't want to do that. But the one thing I think, and maybe most of you know this, but it is a digital format now. It is no longer like how when I took it, you fill in the bubble with the number 2 pencil. It is completely a digital format now. And what they call it is module adaptive. So what happens is there is an English section, there's a math section, and those are split up into modules. So what happens here is the modules, let's say there's 2 modules, it depends on how you perform on the first module that determines the difficulty of the second module. So if you're taking the math and there's 2 modules, if you do well or you don't miss that many in the first module, then the second module, when they bring it up, is going to be more difficult. Okay, that's why it's adaptive. Versus if you took the first module and you didn't do too well, it's going to make it easier. But making it easier means you're not going to get as high of a score. Okay, so that's the reason why the digital format, you really do need to do some studying on it. Now, on average, when you are going to be studying for your SATs, you can increase your digital SAT score by, let's say, 100 points every month. That's typically what we see. So, for example, if you are going to, let's say, at a minimum, the Ivies are looking for 1460 or higher. So if you're scoring at like 1350, 1360, take a month, study, and then take the test. Okay. Typically, again, 100 points. But if you're scoring around the 1200, then it looks like then you may need 3 months, because you're going to need, and you want to make it to the Ivy Leagues, you need 2 to 3 months to study, because you're going to need, again, time to study and really refine it, right? What we recommend is you don't want to take the SAT or ACT more than twice. That's what looks good per se. When you start taking it more, then the school start wondering, well, why are you taking it more? You're trying to, not necessarily game the system, but again, it looks better when you're only taking it twice, because the first time it makes sense. You'll take it a second time to just try to improve your score. So what we do recommend is you go take it at a diagnostic testing center. So you go to one of these centers that provide and sell basically services to help you in SAT, but just ask them, hey, I'd like to take a test, because what you want to do is you want to see what is your base score when you are taking it in a very similar atmosphere as the real test. Okay. Don't take the test, as I mentioned, more than twice if possible. And if you find that your test score is fairly low, or not at the mark that you want, then get help. Okay. We actually, as part of our program, offer Magoosh, which is an amazing partner of ours that helps. They actually were in the digital format even before SAT was in digital format. Okay. Khan Academy is great. And then again, here's another one, is the digital SAT book that's available on Amazon by College Board, because again, College Board sponsors these courses. These tests. And you want to get the ones that are the previous SATs. Okay, you don't want to get the ones that are the tests that are that were made up or so. Okay. One tip here for students, again, if you're not able to go to, let's say, a partner or somebody that helps out, is utilize an air log. Write down the questions you got wrong, write out the steps and the solutions, and then make notes for yourself so you don't make the same mistake again. Okay, so you want to focus on your weaknesses. Okay. With respect to preferences between SAT and ACT, it really depends. It's the ones where typically I say, if you scored higher, or if you feel better about it, because the SAT versus the ACT, there's more time they give you more time in the SAT, but they give you less time to ACT, but sometimes the ACT questions are maybe a little bit easier, so you can get through them faster because you have less time, right? But it all depends upon your liking, okay? So I want to give you a bonus, okay? I know it says number 6 because I'm doing 5, but I'm going to give you number 6 right away as a break here. For seniors only. This is really important. Of course, it's very obvious. Work on your applications. Start them early, okay? I can't tell you enough how many students start working, and this is especially for the UCs, they start working on their application at the start of Thanksgiving. I've seen it so many times because what happens here is that the application is due at November 30th, and they are off the week before, so they start on their applications and get in. That is the wrong time and the wrong way to do it. You want to start, and typically we start after you get out in June. You start in June, so you give yourself runway. Okay, you want to go and give yourself runway. You want to work on the prompts and the way you're going to answer them. You want to get all of your information together. Okay, well, guess what? This is something that we help out with. Okay, so we have what's called a college application intensive. This college application intensive is a 2-day intensive workshop. Okay, it's a small group setting. Usually we cap it at 15. Our coaching teams flies in, so it's in person. We sit down and we give unlimited one-on-one coaching. Okay, we edit the applications and the prompts, and we cover all the UC, CSU's common applications up to 5 supplementals. There is, of course, pre-event homework that needs to be done before it. And we actually are starting our live office hours. It did start in April. We are actually having one in June in Northern California to get started, because as a precursor to these, but we ask again to sign up. So here's a little bit of a sample. This is us, myself, Coach David, and Coach Tony at our Irvine office doing our intensive, which we had great. You can see there a parent listening in. We have locked in our sites. Okay, so we are doing it at UC Irvine. We're going to be doing it at USC. We're going to be doing it at Berkeley. We're going to do it at San Jose State. So all of these dates are locked in. So I encourage you to please, okay, encourage you to please sign up. Okay, so if you are interested in signing up for our college application intensive, please go ahead and type in weekend, WEEKEND, in the chat. Okay, weekend in the chat, or you can also text to us weekend at 415-938-8721. Again, 415-938-8721. Text us weekend and we will get you the information on how to sign up. I can't tell you how much it is a great session, especially parents. As you know, when students, they are locked in, because that's the reason why we have them. We do have them some online, but we do also have them in person, because they can't go anywhere. They can't be looking at their phones. They have to be looking at their computer and working with us. And we love it. And we've had so much success with the college application intensive. So love it. I see it. I can't believe this. We are almost hitting a record here of the number of families on our call. It's incredible. Thank you so much. I want to do a gut check here. How are you guys doing? How is the information so far? Can you please give me a thumbs up or a heart? Because I'd love to know that we're giving you the good information. Love it. Thank you so much. Thank you. I love the claps. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to move on here because I want to make sure I give some time for questions. So number 4. Now, I'm doing these, like I said, I'm not giving you the obvious things. Some of them were obvious, but some of them are not. Develop your network. Now, this is one thing that I work with our students so much, because I don't think that people realize how much that how much you can get an advantage by developing your network. And I'm going to explain to you what that means, okay? It really does take a village of mentors, teachers, peers, experts to help you grow and to learn and thrive. And what I mean by that is that I'm the kind of person I can't stand to reinvent the wheel. I hate it. I really, really do. It just drives me nuts. So what I love to do is if someone gives me some good advice, I'm going to take it. And here's my advice. First of all, determine what your passion is or your areas of interest, okay? And then what you're going to do is you're going to go on LinkedIn. Now, if you don't have a LinkedIn account, make one, okay? And what you're going to do is you're going and or if you go onto the the university's faculty sites to look at the faculties, and you're going to find individuals that are in that area. So, for example, if you love, let's say, gaming, if you want somebody that's gaming, and you know of certain gaming companies, right? Go onto LinkedIn and find individuals that are on LinkedIn that are in the gaming arena, right? Companies that you know of, okay? And then what you're going to do is you're going to communicate to them because they normally have a vehicle in LinkedIn or they have their emails or so on the sites, and you're going to email them. But what you're going to do is you're going to email them and ask them if you could interview them, okay? But you are not going to be asking them anything. All you're going to do is you do not ask for help. You just want to listen and learn. Now, mind you, this is a numbers game. You may not get some, you're not going to get as many hits, but the hits that you do are going to be so valuable because everybody loves to talk about themselves. Okay. So what you're going to do is you're going to listen. You're going to set up interviews with them and you're going to talk to them. Okay. Now, once you've talked to them and you get information, what you're going to do now is on a regular basis, you're going to send them a note and you're going to tell them how you're doing, what insights you've had, and ask them. So I will tell you, here's one example. I had a student loved to talk about or love math, and what happened was I gave him this suggestion. He reached out to professors, and he I think he put out 10 and he got like 3 or 4 hits. And so he interviewed all of them, and all of them said great. And then but one of them said, you know what? I think you have a great thing. I'm going to help you start a project. Okay. And he didn't ask. I'm going to help you start a project. And it was amazing. And so we're going to look and see. He's going to develop it during the summer. But what you're going to do now is you want to continue on. And this is the reason why I mentioned about connecting the summers. If you start this freshman year, okay, and you start connecting with, let's say, a professor or let's say a professional out there, someone that can give you information about the area that you're interested in or passionate about, you start connecting them, talking with them, and they start knowing you. Well, guess what? I will tell you, and this is how I do things, and I've done it many times, and I have so many connections and mentors as well that help me out. You start building a rapport, and then after that, you can ask them for help. And typically what they'll do is they'll normally be willing to help you even a little bit, or to actually route you to somebody else, or to recommend you to somebody that maybe, for example, they say, oh, you know what? Maybe one of their colleagues will say, hey, I know this person, been talking with them, great person. Because a lot of times, for example, if you're trying to look for an internship, especially in high school, they're not going to give you internships if you're a high school kid necessarily, because they're looking for graduate students or college students. But if they know who you are and you provided them with information and they know the insights and the intelligence you have, they may put you on to a team, okay, one of their teams. I know that for a fact because one of our students, again, she did the same thing in made it to Caltech, but she was able to find it and get onto a team at a university. Okay, now you can use these individuals as well, and maybe they may help you, but you can use them as recommendations because they get to know you. They really get to know you, and they know about all of the conversations that you have. So you can use that as recommendations, and that looks great, especially if you're getting a recommended that's in your field of study. Okay. So really, really important. You might even get insights, on your personal project, and they may be able to help you. All right. Now, the last one that I have is number 5. Okay. Search for scholarships. And I know this is kind of weird because you say, why? We need scholarships. You're still in high school. No, you can start. And if for some of you, you were probably on with me, probably, I don't know, maybe 4 weeks ago, where I did a training session on scholarships. Now, scholarships, you can start as low as 4th grade. Okay. But the thing is, if you start now, wouldn't that be amazing, mom and dad and students, if you started and you stockpiled all of these scholarships so that by the time that you get to a college, you already have a significant, amount of scholarships that can pay for your school. Okay. So what do we do? Remember, it's a marathon, not a sprint. It is truly a numbers game. You want to do a keyword search on your interests and passions. Okay. You want to create and maintain a scholarships database that you're going to use over time. Okay. Over time, you want to make sure you get the due date for each one, and then every year you're filing for it, right? Stack your scholarships. Again, it's great that if you get a 10,000 or 25,000, whatever, but there's too many people going for it. And it's too difficult to usually win those. What you want to do is you want to do the 250s, the 500s, the thousands, the 1500, the 2000, the 2500. Those are the great ones, because then you start stacking them. After a while, if you keep on getting them and you're stacking them, you're going to get to that point. Now, the only thing that I also want to make sure you're considering is FAFSA, because these private scholarships that I'm talking about do cut into FAFSA. So you want to be aware of that, right? Use some online, scholarship search engines, but of course, be careful, okay? But ones that I've seen are really good: bold.org, Scholarship Owl, Go Mary, and even the one through College Board, which is called bigfuture.collegeboard.org, okay? And just remember, if they're not asking you to do anything for the scholarship, then it's probably not a legitimate scholarship, okay? No work means no scholarship. What I mean by that is those scholarships say, "Oh, just put your name in, we'll put you in the lottery." No, don't do it. They're trying to get your email address so they can sell it on a list. Or, they try to get some different information for you. You don't want to do it, okay? You want to get the ones, again, that ask you for, let's say, an essay or a form of work or video or something, okay? Those are the ones that are most likely legit, okay, and normally are legit, okay? So with that said, okay, that's the 5, okay? That's the 5. Now, I hope that was beneficial, but what I'm going to do here is I always like to give away a freebie. So this is the freebie. I talked about the sample SAT prep. We have a form. Do you guys want this sample SAT prep document? It kind of guides you through how to, how to study for the SATs. Would that be okay? So if you do, please type in the chat SAT. Okay. This is something, okay, SAT. Okay, great. Okay, now, what I'll do is our team will go ahead and send out this sample document, prep document. Okay, again, it's not the fully extensive ones that like Magoosh and the Khan Academy has, but again, it'll get you started in prepping for the SAT. Remember, if you're just going for the UCs and the CSUs, you don't need to take the SAT because it's test blind. But I will say is that if you do have a high score, or you can score high, then I would recommend taking it, just because it does look good on an application. Does the SAT and ACT make a huge difference? Not necessarily on your applications, but it's an added value, right? Because we always think it's more than just a neutral value. Okay. All right. So with that said, remember by the numbers. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. Now, so it's Q&A time, but before I do that, if you are interested in the information that I put together and are interested, because you can see every single thing, all the 5, even the 6 suggestions that I put on there, we help out through CAS, College Admission Secrets. If you are interested, okay, in booking a free 15-minute assessment call with us, please type in book, BOOK, in the chat. And I'll definitely we'll get out to you, and we'll set up that 15-minute assessment call. And then, as well as if you are interested in the college application intensives for your students, I would highly recommend to text us for both of these, either book and weekend, at 415-938-8721. Again, 415-938-8721, or type it in here. And then we will reach out to you and get you a. Now, more importantly, again, if you can text us 415-938-8721, book or weekend, we will get it. Okay. All right. Now I'm gonna hit, because we have about 10 minutes here. I'm gonna go and look at some questions here. Okay, some questions here. Thank you for that. We appreciate all of the I appreciate all the webinar chats. And let me look at the questions here. Okay. Thank you. Someone said, hi, coach. Hello. I appreciate that. So hello. How does not taking an AP exam affect the student's success to get into UCs? Okay, good question. So I think this is something that we answered in the last one. And I'm going to answer this. So so this is the thing. If you took the AP, if you took an AP class, okay, but you don't take the AP exam, it's not a big thing, but the one thing is that it's going to put a question in the mind of the reader of why you didn't. And the big thing, and Coach Tony preaches this a lot, because again, he was a reader at the UCs for a very long time. Whenever the case is that he had to stop and pause and say, huh, why did they do that? That's not necessarily a good thing, because then it gives them a pause and it gives them a delay, and possibly saying, okay, you know, we need to reconsider this, right? Because if you're going to go through the rigor of an AP, you might as well take the test. And it doesn't, you know, even if you have a poor score, you still want to report it, because what happens is you are still taking the course, okay? And remember, the colleges are assessing whether you can get through the rigor of the course, okay? And then on top of that, getting the taking the AP exam is so that you can get the credit, right? That's only the primary reason why, is just to get the credit. But if you've gone through the class, then what happens is that you have done the rigor, and then whatever grade you get, it's an indication of how you're going to do in college, because the AP courses are, again, college equivalent as you know, as the ones in college. Okay. Is taking an online class from an institution like MIT through edX also a good option, or better to do community college courses? Good question. So community college courses, I always usually recommend that at the highest one, but an edX MIT class is good. It doesn't have necessarily as big of a weight. The reason why is because it depends upon the MIT edX class, how long it is. And on top of that, if you are taking a community college course that is within the requirements, then it's easier for the community or the universities to judge the rigor and, you know, how good of a class it is, because it meets certain criteria. Okay, not to say that's not bad to take an MIT, let's say, edX class, but again, usually because it's regulated, the community college courses are regulated, it's easier for them to evaluate. Okay. Another thing is, should the summer course be relevant to the major that the kid wants to pursue in college? Also, what if the junior is unsure about the major he wants? Okay, good question. So you don't necessarily have to take college courses that are relevant to your major. It's good to. But what happens is that one thing is we're trying to continue on, you know, upping your rigor, right? So community college courses, again, or what we call dual enrollment, they are at the same level of an AP. And so, as I mentioned in my previous, when I first started, is that taking a college course, we usually recommend that you start off with something like in the humanities, or the social sciences, right? And so like a psychology, anthropology, you know, or sociology, okay? But if the junior is unsure about what major to take, then that's a good, you know, that's a good route to take that, okay? How about political science for summer class? Great class, absolutely. Within the social sciences, again, you know, intro to poli-sci is good, especially if maybe you want to, you know, go into business, or you want to, maybe you're going to try to do a pre-law at some point or so, okay? How much does your programs cost? Okay, so our programs start at 3,500 and go up, okay? But again, we have set prices for our different programs, and if you are interested in, you know, you know, our programs, please text us book at 415-938-8721. Okay. If we are signed up for the college app weekend, when is the pre-work going to be sent out, or it has been? Okay, so for those who have are in our program, and if you signed up for our college application intensive, yes, we will send out the pre-work very soon. It'll start in June, and then but if you don't see it, ping us in Discord because we can get to you now. Okay. Can I please get a reply all this off the Zoom? Okay, I don't know what that means. I have the option to do a senior project on an area of interest. Can my senior project? Yes, absolutely. Remember, a passion project is whatever it's whatever that you are passionate about, right? So a senior project can be definitely. Now, again, if the senior project is tied to a class, not necessarily, but the senior project, what you can do is if you expand on it, or if you start it maybe the summer before your senior year, then it's absolutely a passion project. Another thing, is a summer job helpful? Absolutely. Summer job is helpful. Again, it's another thing that because I could have put a laundry list of things, but a summer job is very, very helpful, especially if it's something that you are passionate about. Okay. It does look great when you have great grades, you have a lot of other activities, and then on top of that, you're holding down a job. They really like, the universities really like that because it shows that you have courage, tenacity. I mean, you have a lot of drive. Okay. Was Go Mary a good or bad? Oh, Go Mary was a good site. It's a good site. Yes, it is a good site. Summer jobs are not recommended. No. Thanks again. My top 5 or my 5 is not necessary that there's the other ones are bad. Summer jobs are good. It is a good thing. Okay. And so if you are looking for a summer job, but again, try to also, you want to combine that with doing, let's say, community service, or as mentioned, a personal project, you know, and finding out mentors, because those are, sorry, building your network, stuff like that. Just because, again, you don't want to just be doing a summer job and that's it, because there's a lot more time that you have available, the unaccounted time, as I mentioned in the beginning. Okay. Is there any chance to get into UCs with 2 Bs and a C? Of course there is. Of course there is. A's and B's are good grades. More A's, of course, are better than B's. And if you have a C, you just have to explain that in our the application itself. And as for a C, I've gotten students into UCs with a C. I mean, they've had a C. You know, again, you don't want to have too many C's, okay? But again, you just explain that. And if there's a really good explanation of why they received the C, then the readers take that into account. Most of your examples kind of seem to focus on UCs. Will these apply to? Yes, of course. These examples that I have don't only just apply to the UCs, they apply to as well as other students in other states and to other universities as well. Okay, absolutely. You know, looking for scholarship, absolutely. Going ahead and a personal project. The Ivy Leagues love personal projects. I can't tell, personal passion projects. They love them. Okay, so absolutely they apply to other. What about out-of-state community colleges? Is an intro to business class be a good class to take it? Yes, you could take an intro to business class. Now, the one that I showed you, the IGETC, there is exactly the same types of parameters in other states. You just have to find it. Like, for example, in Illinois, I believe it's called the GECC versus the IGETC in California. So you just have to go, and if you can do transferability requirements to 4 years in your respective state, you'll be able to find that, and there most likely will be a site to help you to be able to navigate if you're from out of state. Okay. Do you have any passion project ideas for someone who wants to be a nurse? Absolutely. There's a lot of passion project ideas mentioned this, but one thing I would say is, you know, I was just helping. If you want to do something you're passionate about. So for example, if you, I was just literally talking to a student today, and you know, he said he loves to help people and he wants to, and he's working at a nursing home. I said, well, then why don't you help the nursing home? And he loves sports. So I said, why don't you create a mobility program to help the elderly at the nursing home get more mobile? Okay, so talk to the director, find out what you can do, and go and do some research on some very simple mobility mobility tasks and events and activities, and then start trying them out and helping out the senior citizens there. And then at the end, you could develop a program, and then there you go. You develop a curriculum that you could share it with others. So that's an example, right? Do you recommend students take ACT or AC right after finishing Algebra 2, regardless of grade level? It all depends, because you do need, so Algebra 2 is fine, but the thing is that it depends on, I would always, first of all, take a sample test. Take a sample test first to find out at what level they are, because even though they may have, required up to a level for math, you still want to take that sample test to see how they do, okay? Because if they don't do well, then you want to make sure that they're studying. Is volunteering in a global nonprofit organization have the same effect as? Yes, absolutely. Any impact that you're volunteering, regardless of whether it's global or at a local organization, is fine. Okay. Sometimes they do like to see at what you're doing in your locality, in your local area. But if it's something, and the key thing is, if it's something that you are passionate about, then that's the right thing. Okay. I have one more minute here. Can UCs see your grades from UC Scouts courses that you've taken if you don't self-report them? You know what? That's a good question. I actually don't know that answer, but I'm going to take that question and I'm going to find it out, and I'm going to put it out there as one of our questions. Why is SAT optional? What do colleges looking for? Why is SAT? Again, the SAT, they made it optional, not because of they chose it, it's because of COVID, and many of them didn't want to deal with students not being able to take SATs because of the COVID issue. Now they are now a lot of the schools are considering whether they should be SAT required, and the reason why is because SATs and ACTs were a kind of a gatekeeper to make sure to see if the students have a certain level, so they can ascertain which students they were going to consider and which ones that didn't meet the mark. Okay. And so that's the reason why. We are at time here. Thank you so much. I know that there's a lot more questions here, but we're going to record these. We have these recorded, and I'm going to go ahead and thank you so much. I can't believe I've kept the mark. Wow. Almost 300 people that have joined this. Thank you so much for joining the call. As you know, I love what we do. I really do. I love what I do because every day we make differences in the lives of students and your students. If you want to join us, please, again, you can see there, text BOOK at 415-938-8721. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. And come back on next Tuesday, because we'll have another amazing presentation for myself and Coach Tony. And again, for those students, I know you've just taken your APs. I wish you luck, and also congratulations. And then for those who are going to be graduating soon, it's an awesome time. So thank you so much. Take it easy. Have a great evening. And I'm Coach Art. Take it easy. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.